What's up, curious youngsters? We use hundreds of products daily, and as you know, they're not all the same. Some are more common and cheap, and others are a bit exclusive and can be a little more expensive. From the bantam chickens you'd like to have to the Icelandic duvet on your clothes, there are some things that, for some reason, are extremely expensive. Because of this and much more, here are 7 things you didn't know why they cost so much money. Zongtao chicken. You've probably seen a chicken in person before, and if not, at least you know what one looks like. In fact, it's also very likely that you enjoy eating its meat from time to time, since we all know that characteristic chicken flavor. However, did you know there's a breed of chickens that look like this? Their legs really stand out compared to their bodies and other chickens, and they're very expensive. They're called Zongtao and might be worth the price. But why? Just one of them can cost around $2,000. However, it's not just about their appearance, since that plays an important role in their high price. But in reality, there are many reasons why these chickens are incredibly prestigious. According to those who have tried their meat, its taste is exceptional and top quality. And even though it is only eaten at very special events and on New Year's, the truth is that, without a doubt, it is the favorite dish of many people. On the other hand, it's not just their consumption that matters. In addition to being used in competitions, Zongtao hens are also sought after for beauty contests. If this occurs a month ahead, they receive special care, including tanning, brushing, and gently washing their legs with a herbal mixture, in addition to feeding them special food, among other things. In short, a hen can live 6 to 7 years. Also, their unique appearance, unlike regular hens, is a major reason for their high price. Icelandic duvet. Even if you love winter or cold weather, you might not know about this material, known as the world's warmest. It's called Icelandic duvet, and unlike what you might think, it comes from ducks instead of animals like sheep. Notice how fluffy and nice this material looks. But why is it so pricey? For example, a single duvet made from it can cost about $8,000. And while that's a lot of money, the truth is there's a good reason for it to cost what it does. You'll see. The ducks from which it can be obtained only live on 150 islands, which farmers have to travel between in small boats. From here, they have to walk across much of the island to find the nests of these ducks, which are not close to each other at all. They either take some now or take it all once the ducks are gone. Getting even 1 kilogram of this material is very hard, and it may not be found on every island they visit. Anyway, once this is done, the farmers have to put this down through different processes, like baking it at 120 degrees Celsius for a while and running it through different special machines. They manually separate the remaining feathers by hand, a process that takes about 5 hours, then add chemicals so the down can be used. Although the work of the farmers goes beyond that, since they have to make sure these ducks are cared for in every way, which is not an easy task at all. Collecting this Irish down is extremely difficult, but you'll agree it looks very warm. Maybe its price is justified. Thank you so much, Mr. Ducks. Hasselblad cameras? If you know any of the most famous photographs ever taken, like that Beatles album cover, you probably don't know that all of them were taken with one of these cameras. It's called Hasselblad and is currently among the priciest cameras available. But before explaining its price, just take a look at the quality of the photos this incredible camera can take. But why is it so expensive? Hasselblad cameras can be worth up to $30,000 today. Yes, did you hear that? Their first 1948 models would cost around $5,900 today. You can imagine what we're talking about. You'll really see. Making one of these machines is incredible because you have to work with extremely small parts. But the main reason these cameras cost so much money is because of their sensor. This is located right in the middle of its components, and it's not only made up of thousands of tiny parts, but it's also exactly what makes its photographs the highest quality. For example, if you zoom in on an image, you can probably see its exact texture and specific color, although its process also involves measuring each important part, and it's somewhat complicated, since the workers have to feel and listen to the sound of each piece. But believe it or not, In addition to all this process, Hasselblad cameras have the largest sensors in the world. These are the reasons these cameras are so expensive, especially since only about 10,000 are made each year, making it even stranger. Sunmai painting. Nowadays, an oil painting can take up to days to finish, and maybe even less if the artist has a clear idea and knows the necessary technique for it. However, there is a painting technique known as sunmai, which is basically lacquer painting, and it requires a lot of experience to use it. It also comes with a very high price. To begin with, although the cost of these paintings can vary, the truth is that we can find some that are around $970,000. This material is hard to handle and comes from the toxic Rusu cadena tree, found only in Vietnam. To collect this material, about 400 trees are cut down to obtain approximately 1.5 kilos of resin. It takes about 3 to 4 hours to collect, and finally this toxic material is thoroughly mixed. But even so, creating a painting is somewhat complex, since you have to let each layer dry for at least a few days. This resin needs a humidity of 70 or 80% to dry, so with a lot of luck, a layer might be ready only after about 3 days. After that, each one is sanded until it's perfect, so the final finish ends up having an appearance similar to oil paint. However, it's entirely different from oil paint or other techniques, which is why completing a piece like this can take months of patience. So then, is the sunmai technique too expensive compared to other traditional paintings? Mainly due to the difficulty in obtaining the material and the lengthy completion time. Pandemic suits. Maybe in a movie or even in real life you've seen one of these suits called NBK or Hazmat suit. If not, well, these are basically used to protect a person from dangerous chemicals, biological agents, and radioactive particles. However, for some years now, their price has been rising more and more. And you probably know why. Yes, it's because of COVID-19. As a result, it's believed this factory may have doubled its income in a year. But now, what do they cost and why? One of these suits costs about $3,000. While that's a lot, the equipment goes through a complex manufacturing process. On the other hand, the fact that hazmat suits are increasing is mainly due to the excessive demand for them, in addition to how difficult it is to be trained to use one of them. And even though making a suit doesn't take much time, in reality, it actually takes no less than about 6 months of training. This has caused some issues because of the lengthy time frame. However, each one undergoes a key quality test to prevent problems. Today's suits aren't just for adults. Due to the pandemic, hazmat suit production has risen significantly. Although these may not be as valuable as the adult ones, they are still quite expensive. So can we conclude that these special suits are not accessible to most people? It was because the pandemic situation we've had in recent years caused their price to increase significantly in the market. Stay away from pandemics, Timmy. Agarwood. If you're lucky, you've probably had the chance to know how good Agarwood smells. It's a small piece of wood from the world's most expensive tree. This product is considered the most expensive natural object, and that's likely true. But why is it so costly? The main reason is actually quite sad. But first, let's talk about the price. Just 1 kilogram of this wood can be worth around $100,000. And yes, you heard right, this figure is exaggerated, but there's a good reason for it. To begin with, it all starts with a tree called Aquilaria malacensis, found specifically in Asia, which is extremely difficult to harvest. To obtain agarwood, these trees must be damaged by external factors, like insects or animals, which end up causing wounds on them. The tree defends itself by producing aloe, an aromatic resin with a strong fragrance. In summary, aloe gradually gathers in the heartwood to form agarwood. For this final step, different workers separate healthy tree parts from the rest. That process may seem complicated, but Aquilaria growth has dropped 80% in the past 150 years. That's not including that just 2% are suitable for commercial use. Many people search for these trees daily, but often return empty-handed. Agarwood is now used as incense, mostly in ceremonies and some clothing. Despite its high price, its scent is considered worth it. Steinway pianos. We've all seen someone play the piano at some point, and maybe you've even played it yourself. However, is there a specific model that really stands out from the rest? Not only because of its high price on the market, but also because of its excellent quality in every sense and the level of detail in its final finish. That's the case with Steinway pianos, which are currently preferred by many celebrities. Even a cheaper one can cost about $187,000, but that's still nothing compared to their two priciest items. One costs $1.2 million, and the other is valued at $2.5 million. And the reason for this high price is that every part of this piano is of high quality. To begin with, a type of wood called Alaska Sitka spruce is used, which is very hard to find, since it grows in very limited areas of the United States, and only 50% of it will be used for production, since it must meet certain millimetric requirements that will help with the sound. Craftsmen assemble its internal and external rails, similar to a piano's frame, unlike other pianos on the market. On the other hand, in a room with two people, they check each piece to verify the quality and precision of each of these keys. The hardest part of this process is testing the notes, which demands incredible precision, as the piano's inner hammer must be checked to ensure each note is perfect. It's a complex process, but every part of the piano as Steinway ensures top sound quality. And the best part is that you can customize it in the way you like the most.